Hello everyone. This video is a part of Unit 2 Kinematics of NCERT Grade 11 Physics syllabus. In the previous videos, I have discussed about Unit 1, that is units and dimension. If you want to learn about that, please check the previous videos. Now in this video, I will discuss about point mass object, the motion in 1 dimension, 2 dimension and 3 dimension, and the concept of distance and displacement. So let's start. Now mechanics. Mechanics is the branch of physics which deals with the study of motion of material objects. Mechanics can be further divided into two branches. The one is where we study about object at rest, while the other one is where we study about objects in motion. The study of object at rest is under the branch called statics, while the study of motion is further classified into two branches. One is where we are not considering the cause of motion, and the other one is where we are considering the cause of motion. So the branch of mechanics in which we study about motion without considering the cause of motion is kinematics, and the branch of physics in which we study about the motion of an object while considering the cause of motion is called as dynamics. So statics is the study of objects at rest. Kinematics is the study of motion of objects without considering the factors causing motion, and dynamics is the study of motion of objects considering the factors causing motion. Now, let us understand the coordinate system. So, the rectangular coordinate system consists of three mutually perpendicular axes, x, y, and z. The point of intersection of axes, that is this x, y, and z, is called as origin, represented by O, and it serves as a reference point. The coordinates x, y, and z of an object describes its position with respect to this coordinate system. Now, if we put a clock in the system to measure time, then the coordinate system along with the clock constitutes a frame of reference. Now, we will define rest with respect to the concept of frame of reference. So if none of the coordinates of the system are changing with time, then we say that the object is at rest. Here in this example, the coordinates of this ball are not changing with time, so the ball is said to be at rest. And if the coordinates, that is one or more of the coordinates of the system, changes with the passage of time, then we say the object is in motion. For example, now this ball is bouncing, so its coordinates are changing with respect to time, so this ball is said to be in motion. Now rest and motion are relative. I will explain this with the help of this example. In this diagram you can see these two people are at rest with respect to each other, as they are in the same frame of reference, or I can say they are not changing their positions with respect to their surrounding, but they are in motion with respect to the outside. You can say the background is changing, so they are in motion with respect to the surrounding, that is outside, as the outer surrounding is not a part of their frame of reference, or I can say that they are changing their positions with respect to each other with time. Now let us understand point mass object. An object can be considered as a point mass object in a given time during its motion if it covers a very large distance as compared to its own size. For example, the earth revolving around the sun. as you can see in this animation itself, that the distance covered by the earth revolving around the sun is very, very, very large as compared to the size of earth. So the earth here is considered as a point mass object. Let us do a few more examples of motion to understand the concept of point mass object. The first case is a railway carriage moving without jerks between two stations. Now, the size of carriage is very small as compared to the distance between the two stations, so it is a point sized object or point mass object. A monkey sitting on top of a man cycling on a circular track. So the size of monkey is very small as compared to the size of circular track. So the monkey is a point object. Here the point in consideration is that the size of circular track is very large for the man to keep the monkey on his shoulder or somewhere, and then he can keep on doing. So this was again a point mass object. The third, a car traveling a distance of 100 meter on a straight road. Now the distance of 100 meter is not very large as compared to the size of the car. So this is not a point mass object. A man falling from a high rise building. So the size of the man is very small as compared to the height of the building, so the man is a point mass object. A swinging or a spinning. Here it is important to just look at the swing or spin that the ball generated. So the swing or spin of the ball is comparable to the distance or the size of ball. So the size of ball and the swing part or the distance it swung was almost equal. So it is not a point object. Now we will consider about motion in 1, 2 and 3 dimensions. So the first one is one dimensional motion. The motion of an object is said to be one dimensional motion if only one of the three coordinates specifying the position of the object changes with respect to time. Example, this car is moving on a straight road, so you can see only its thing is changing along the x-axis, so it is one dimensional motion. Motion of a man walking on a narrow road. Motion of an object dropped from a height. This is also an example of one dimensional. Next is two dimensional motion. So the motion of an object is said to be two dimensional motion if two of the three coordinates specifying the position of the object changes with respect to time. Example is an insect crawling on the floor. Now here you can see the insect is changing its position in two parts, that is two axes, x and y. That's why it's a two dimensional. If the insect was moving in a straight line, then it would have been example of one dimensional. The motion of a planet around the sun. Now here you can see it's the planet moves around the sun in a circular or elliptical orbit. So only two of the three coordinates are changing. That's why it's a two-dimensional motion. Now this is interesting. Motion of car on an uneven road. So you can see along x-axis it is changing, but because of this unevenness along y-axis also it's changing. That's why it's a two-dimensional motion. Three-dimensional motion. The motion of an object is said to be three-dimensional if all the three coordinates specifying the position of an object changes with respect to time. So example is a flying aeroplane, a kite flying on a windy day, and flying bird or bird. Now distance and displacement, you have already studied about this concept in grade 9, but just let's have a quick recap of that. So distance is the total path length covered by an object in motion, while displacement is the shortest path between the initial and final position. Okay, we have an example, don't worry for distance can't be 0 or negative, while displacement can be positive, negative and 0. distance is always greater than or equal to displacement, while displacement is always less than, or maybe in some few cases it can be equal to distance also, but it can never be more than distance. Distance is a scalar quantity as it only depends on magnitude, while displacement is a vector quantity which depends on magnitude as well as direction. Now let me explain the concept of negative displacement. So here you can see we have points 0, 40, 80 on number line, and we have the positions O, Q and P. Okay. So here is an object person who is at O, that is origin, and he moved from O to P. So positive displacement, the displacement from O to P is final position is at 360, initial is 0, so 360 minus of 0 is equal to 360. Now the man moves from P to Q. So the displacement from P to Q. Now what is P position? 360. What is Q position? 240. Now 240 minus of 360 is 120. By the way, here the negative sign tells that the direction is opposite to the motion, direction of motion which he initially initiated. Okay, so here the displacement is negative. Now let us find out the distance. So the distance from O to Q. So first he moved from O to P, that was 360. Then he moved from P to Q, that is 120. So it is 480 meters. While the displacement from O to Q is 240. Now here we are not considering the direction, we are just considering that what is the shortest between the two, that's why 240. Now if my direction of motion is from negative to positive, from say this to this direction, then this is negative, and if I am considering this as the direction, then it is positive. Now let's have a quick recap of the topics that we studied. Mechanics, branch of physics which deals with the study of motion of material objects. Then rest, if an object is not changing its position with the surrounding. Motion, when it is changing its position with surrounding. Point mass object, if it covers a very large distance as compared to its size. Motion in one dimension, only one coordinate is changing. Two dimension, two coordinates are changing. And three dimension, all the three coordinates are changing. Then we studied about distance, total path length covered by an object, and displacement, that is the shortest path between the initial and final position. Now this is the assignment for you people. I will request you to pause the video, try the questions on your own. After you are done, then play the video again to check the answers. By the way, question number 6 is a brilliant question, you should try. Question number 1. So I have to tell whether it is a point object or not. So the first one, a tumbling beaker that has slipped off the edge. It's not a point object because the size of beaker is comparable to the height of the table. Okay, the size of beaker is not very small as compared to the height, so it's not a point object. 400-meter train, yes, it is a point object because 400 meter is very small as compared to the distance between Delhi and Kanpur. A spinning cricket ball, this we did in examples also, so it's not a point object because the size of spinning ball is comparable to the distance through which it turns sharply on hitting the ground. Question number 2. When does a cyclist appear to be stationary with respect to another moving cyclist? So when both are traveling in the same direction with the same speed, they appear to be stationary with respect. Question number 3. Under what condition will the distance and displacement of a moving object have the same magnitude? And the answer is when the object is moving in a straight line in one particular direction only. Question number 4. Shipra went from her home to school 2.5 kilometer away. On finding her home closed, she returned to her home immediately. What is her net displacement? What is the total distance covered by her? So the total distance is 5 kilometer, that is 2.5 home to school plus 2.5 school to home. Now net displacement is 0 because the initial and the final position is same, that is home. Question number 5. A body covered a distance of L meter along a semicircular path. Calculate the magnitude of displacement of the body and the ratio of the distance to displacement. Now, the distance is equal to L as it is given in the question. What about the radius? Radius is equals to L by pi. Why? Because in a semicircle, the circumference is pi r and that is equal to L here. So r will be L upon pi. Displacement is 2L upon pi because displacement is 2r. Now the ratio of distance to displacement is pi by 2. Now let's move to this brilliant question. A drunkard walking in a narrow lane takes 5 steps forward and 3 steps backward, followed again by 5 steps forward and 3 steps backward, and so on. Each step is 1 meter long and requires 1 second. Plot the distance time graph of his motion. Also determine graphically and otherwise how long the drunkard takes to fall in a pit 13 meter away from the start. So we have this xt graph on which on x-axis we have taken time and y-axis we have taken the distance. Now the distance covered in one step was 1 meter and the time taken was 1 second. So this is our drunkard. Okay, and he moved the first 5 steps. So the time taken to move first 5 meter forward is 5 seconds. Then what he did, okay, then he took 3 steps backward. Okay, so this is the 3 steps backward and it took him 3 seconds. Now what is the net distance? 5 minus 3, that is 2 meter. Okay, net time taken is 8 seconds, the first 5 seconds plus 3 seconds. So in the first 8 seconds he covered 2 meter and he took 8 seconds. So drunkard covers 2 meters in 8 seconds. Again 5 steps forward, okay, that gives to 13. Then 3 steps backward, that gives to the position that is 16 seconds. Okay, so 4 meters in 16 seconds. Then 5 steps forward, that will give him 21 seconds. Then 3 steps, okay, that will give him 24. So 6 meter in 24 seconds. Then again 5 steps, that will give him 29 seconds. Then 3 steps backward, that will give him 32. So 8 meter in 32 seconds. And then 5 more. Okay, now that is where the, now what was the thing, 8 meters was this. Now 8 plus 5 will give it 13 and the pit was at 13. So in the next 5 seconds the drunkard will cover a distance of 5 meter and the total distance of 13 meter and falls into the pit. So and the net time will be 32 plus 5, that is 37 seconds. So this was all. Now this is the acknowledgement for the images which I have taken. I am really thankful to Google, Bing and all others who have given me these images. Thank you so much. Do come for the next video which is about average speed. Thank you so